So last day, what we saw that the detective Superintendent Carter, he actually informed the governor that they have chased Evans's car, but somehow they lost it again. At this, the governor told them that no, Evans might have gone to Newbury, and the governor wanted to know about McClary, the wounded McClary. Now, Carter told that they had taken wounded McClary to the examination board, but here really he was groggy. Groggy means he was really groggy. He was struggling a bit. So from there, Carter had actually informed the local hospital, and from there the local hospital had told that that the local hospital had here that really groggy he was when he got to the examination offices, and they rang to the ambulance from there to the Radcliffe. So, according to Carter, McClary had been admitted to the hospital. Now, the governor, after this phone call with Carter, the governor wanted to check whether McClary had been admitted to that hospital or how he was. So, the governor called to the reception of Radcliffe, the hospital. Now, someone on the other end of that phone who received the phone call, she was a woman, and she could not understand what governor wanted to mean, and she asked again that McClary, you say? Yes, he is a person. The governor told, yes, he is a person. I don't think there is anyone from Radcliffe Hospital. Actually, Carter told that they had made a phone call to Radcliffe and they had sent an ambulance, but when the governor had called to that hospital from the reception, it had been told to the governor that I don't think there is anyone that from the reception it has been told. Yes, there is. You will find one of your ambulances picked up him from the spillway about. The governor told, yes, there must be there because your ambulances from your hospital must have gone to a spillway, and from there they had taken a patient and his name was McClary. Oh, that, yes, we sent an ambulance, all right, but when we got there, the fellow had gone. No one seemed to know where he was, just vanished, not a sign. Now, the governor was so much surprised. From that Radcliffe Hospital, it has been told to the governor over telephone that yes, it is true. The government or the hospital authority received a phone of Carter and for sending ambulance, and they had done the same. But ambulance had gone to that spillway to that examination board. But when the ambulance reached there, they could not find anybody. Nobody was there, and no one seemed to know where he was. Just vanished, not a sign. And even the people over there, they did not know where that wounded person had gone, as if the wounded person had vanished. That the receptionist has told. But the governor was no longer listening, and the truth seemed to hit him with almost physical impact somewhere in the back of his neck. And the governor realized everything, and the governor was not listening anything, because he now realized that what a master plan it was. That's obviously Evans. Actually, that wounded person must be Evans, and he had escaped from there. Actually, he played. He pretended to be McClary. He pretended to be wounded badly, and from there he just escaped. The governor realized the truth. And this truth, as if had a great impact on him, as if somebody had hit him physically. A quarter of an hour later, they found the Reverend S. McClary securely bound and gagged. Gagged means choked in his study in Broad Street. He had been there, he said, since 8:15 when two men had called, and immediately the governor had sent two persons to McClary's address, and after going to that persons, the McClary, they found that Reverend McClary, the real McClary, actually securely bound. He had been bound and gagged, means he has been choked. His mouth had been choked with something, and he was found in his study, and he told that since the morning 8:15 I had been since like this, and when two men had come to me, and afterwards he did not know. Inquiries in Newbury throughout the afternoon produced nothing, and Carter, the superintendent, detective superintendent, he inquired the whole Newbury, but they did not find anything, nothing at all. And by tea time, everyone in the prison knew what had happened. By tea time means by the evening time, everybody knew what had happened. Means Evans had escaped again. It had not been Evans impersonating McClary who had walked out. It had been Evans impersonating McClary who had stayed in. This is most important thing. It had not been Evans impersonating McClary who had walked out. It had been Evans impersonating McClary who had stayed in. Means the wounded person, all the people thought that it was wounded Evans, wounded McClary. It was actually Evans. And the person who just went out, it was false McClary, but it was not Evans. The fish and chips were delicious, and after a gentle stroll round the center of Chipping Norton, Evans decided to return to the hotel and have an early night. This is Evans's part, what Evans was doing. Now in that, the fish and chips were delicious. Evans has taken fish fry and chips. It was really delicious. And after a gentle stroll round, just a stroll around means walking around of the Chipping Norton where Evans was staying, Evans decided to return to the hotel and have an early night. Decided that he should go to the hotel quickly. A smart new hat concealed the wreckage of his closely cropped hair, and he kept it on as he walked up the reception desk of the Golden Lion. Means he was staying in Golden Lion, but the place was Chipping Norton. Okay, and he was wearing a new fashionable hat to hide the wreckage. Wreckage means destruction of his hair, because he had here the wreckage of his closely cropped hair, and he kept it on as he walked up to the reception desk to the Golden Lion, and wearing this hat just to hide this wreckage, the destruction of this hair, just closely cropped hair. He just actually wear that hat, and he went straight to the reception of the Golden Lion. It would take a good while for his hair to regain his former glories, but what the hell did that matter? He was out again, wasn't he? Now he was thinking that his hair would take a few times to get back his former glory, to grow up again, but he does not bother about. The most important thing is that he has come out again of that jail. Now, jail. And he was out again, wasn't he? A bit of bad luck that when Jackson had pinched his scissors, for it had meant a long and tricky operation with his only razor blade the previous night. See, Jackson had taken his scissor from him, but he had to cut his hair so closely to the scalp so that he could present himself as McClary, and he did it with a razor blade. So it must be very tough with that razor blade, the blade that is used for shaving the beard. With the razor blade, he had actually cut his hair and made it so little cut hair, and close cropped hair. Now, and that is why it was just looking like a destruction of hair. It would in few days it would get back to its previous glory that he was thinking. And he would have, now see, tricky operation with the only razor blade the previous night of the examination. But he had his good luck too. Just think, if Jackson had made him take his bobble hat off, that really had been a close call. See, just remember that Jackson, on the day of examination, the senior prison officer ordered Evans that you should take off your hat, but Evans told no, it was a lucky charm for me, so I don't want to take out my hat, take off my hat. So he was thinking again, it was really a very close call. If Jackson would force him to take his hat off, then really his plan would all be wasted there. That really had been a close call. Still, old Jackson wasn't such a bad fellow, and he was thinking, yes, old Jackson was not a such bad fellow, because Jackson ultimately actually accepted his proposal to wear that bobble hat while he would appear in the examination. One of the worst things, funny really, he had been the beard. He had always been allergic to sticking plastic, and even now his chin was irritating, sore and red. Now, he had to wear that false beard, and for this he had to use gum, and for that gum it makes him very much irritable. His cheeks was very much irritating, and he had always been allergic to sticking plastic, and even now his chin was irritatingly sore and red, yes, because of that plastic. Yes, good afternoon. Just we are completing page number 86, come to page 87. The receptionist wasn't the same girl who had booked him in, but the change was definitely for the better. Now, Evans, while he was staying in that Golden Lion Hotel in in Golden Lion in the hotel. Okay. Now, when he came in the evening, after just strolling around, just having after a walk around, when he came in the evening, he saw that the girl who was sitting in the receptionist desk, it was a different girl. When he came, checked in the hotel for the first time, it was a different girl, but now it was a different girl again. Now, as he collected his keys, he gave her his best smile, told her he wouldn't be bothering with breakfast, ordered the Daily Express, and asked for an early morning call at 6:45 a.m. Tomorrow was going to be another busy day. So, see, at first Evans checked in the hotel, Golden Lion. Afterwards, he went outside. He had taken fish fry and chips. He enjoyed this delicious fish fry and chips. Then again, he came back to the hotel. When he came back, because he wanted to have an early night that night, and when he was taking back his key of that room that he has booked, he saw that it was a different girl who was sitting in that reception desk, and it was better for him. He just exchanged his smile. He had gave him the best smile, he gave her his best smile. Both of them exchanged smile, and Evans told that girl in the reception desk that he don't want that he should be bothered with breakfast, and he told that rather he should be provided a newspaper, Daily Express. Mark it, that which newspaper Evans wanted to have in the morning. It is Daily Express, because he wanted to check the news, whether escapement from the jail, whether it has come to the newspaper or not. And he also asked for an early morning call at 6:45 a.m. and he knew tomorrow is going to be a very busy day, because he would have to go from their hotel also next day. He whistled softly to himself as he walked up to the broad stairs. He had sort of liked the idea of being dressed up as a minister, dog collar and everything. He was thinking that how he was dressing, because after the examination, it was the person who went out, it was the false McCleary, and Evans, who was staying in, being the wounded McCleary, and he had to wear the dress just like McCleary. So he was thinking that how he was wearing that dog collar and all this. Yes, it had been a jolly good idea for McCleary to wear two black fronts, two collars. See, McCleary, the false McCleary, who had come as an invigilator, he actually had been wearing two black fronts, two dog collars. But that top collar, it had kept on slipping off the back stud, and there would have been that one panicky moment when McClary had only just got his hand up to his neck in time to stop the collars springing apart before Stephens. Now see, remember this. When Stephens saw through the peephole during the examination, he saw that McClary, the invigilator, he was he was reading the newspaper, and one of his hand was there just at the back of the collar. Now here, Evans make it clear that as the false McClary was wearing two collars, so one of that collar was slipping down. Okay, slipping down. And if it happened that Stephens, the junior prison officer, could readily understand that he had having some problem with his dress. So he managed, that false McClary managed it with his finger. Evans was thinking all about. They had got that little problem worked out all right, though it was not a huge problem, it was a little problem, but all this problem they have solved, though a pain stuck in the mouth whenever the evil eye had appeared at the peephole. And actually Evans was actually looking vacantly towards the door, and evil eye means eyes of Stephens, while Stephens was looking through the peephole. Every time Stephens saw that McClary was, sitting with a pen in between his teeth. Now, had appeared in the peephole, easy. But all the fiddling about under the blanket with the black front and the stud at the back of the collar, that had been far more difficult than they had ever bargained for. Everything else had gone beautifully, smoothly, though. Now see, Evans once requested McClary, because he was feeling cold and he wanted to wrap his blanket. So this is the real reason that why he covered himself with the blanket, because he wanted to change his dress and he wanted to prepare himself as McClary. He wanted to wear the black coat. He wanted to wear the dog collar that the false McClary had provided him, and for doing this he wanted to cover him up with a blanket. So question may come that why Evans had covered himself with a blanket, and we should write that he wanted to prepare himself to be present himself as false McClary or as McClary in front of all. So for this he actually wanted to cover up himself with a blanket, and he got the permission as well. Now he was thinking all that how he had done all these things. Now in car he had found everything they had promised him, and when from that examination offices where he was really groggy, and Carter had made a phone call to the hospital and Redcliffe, and from there they had sent an ambulance. Just in between time, actually Evans had escaped from that examination board, because from jail he had come out with Carter, and they had both come to the speedway to the examination board office, and from there really Evans means McClary, they all thinking him as McClary, that he was really groggy, and Carter actually wanted to send him to the hospital. From there he escaped. So he escaped, and he had been provided with the car with his friends. He had lots of friends outside who helped him a lot. So and in the car he got soap, water, clothes, the map. Yes, the map, of course, everything was ready in the car when he just got back from there. The Ordnance Survey map of Oxfordshire. He had got some good friends, some very clever friends. Christ, and he was very much satisfied. Really. He got some good friends, because without the help of good friends outside the jail, it was impossible for him to escape from the jail. So he was very thankful to his friends, and he was thankful to God as well for giving him so faithful, so dependable friend, and really he was satisfied. All this. Now he unlocked his bedroom, and all these things he was thinking when he was just walking along that corridor of that hotel, and now he was going to enter his room, which he had been booked in Golden Lion Hotel in Chipping Norton. He unlocked his bedroom and closed it quietly behind him. He unlocked his bedroom, he entered, closed the door behind him, and then stood frozen to the spot like a man who has just caught a glimpse of a gargon. Gargon means a demon. And whenever, just closing the door, whenever he turned up, as if he saw a glimpse of a gargon, means as if he saw a glimpse of a demon, he had been frozen. He was terrified. He was so much frightened. He was so much, confused. He was so much perplexed, what should I say, that to whom he had seen that somebody was sitting in his room and he saw the man, and as if the narrator had compared it, that as if he had had a glimpse of a demon, that he was totally confused and as well as terribly terrified as well. Sitting on the narrow bed was the very last man in the world that Evans had expected or wanted to see. Actually, the narrow bed in the room where in the Golden Lion Hotel, that somebody was sitting in Evans's room and Evans saw the person. Actually, he did not want to meet the person in his whole life, or he is the last person to whom Evans wanted to meet. Somebody was sitting over there. "It's not worth trying anything," said the governor quietly. See the twist in that tale. Twist in the tale. The governor was sitting. So Evans was so much satisfying. Evans was thinking that how he made it possible to escape from the jail for the fourth time, and he was so much satisfying. He was giving thanks to his friends. He was giving thanks to Christ for having so much dependable and faithful friends, and he was so much self-satisfied. Now he saw, entering his room, that in the bed it was the governor who was sitting in the room. So this is, as I told, twist in the tale. Said the governor quietly, and Evans's eyes darted desperately around the room, and Evans was looking around the room desperately, that he had to escape from there as well. "I have got men all around the place." The governor realized. Governor told Evans, "I have got men around the place." Well, there were only two really, but Evans didn't know that. But actual thing is that only two persons had come to arrest. With governor, two persons had come in that hotel. But the governor told, he had set all the people around, and he actually threatened Evans, warned Evans that you could not escape from there. He let the words sink in. "Women too, didn't you think the blonde girl in the reception was rather sweet?" See, Evans noticed that whenever he came back in the evening time, that the girl in the reception desk, it was the other girl. When he came for the first time, she was different. And the governor told, didn't you like the girl in the reception desk with the blonde girl? Blonde girl means having just whitish, yellowish color, yellowish whitish color. Blonde girl in the reception was rather sweet, the governor told. And we know that girl and Evans, they exchanged a smile as well. Evans was visibly shaken. Visibly shaken means it was very visible that Evans was shocked. He sat down slowly in the only chair the small room could offer. Actually, he booked a very small room, and only chair was there. He sat on the chair and held his head between two hands. For several minutes there was utter silence. He just held his hand like this, sat, because all the plan had been wasted. What had happened? That he had made a plan for so many days. He had got the advantage. He got the help from so many friends. Ultimately, all had been wasted, because again the governor was sitting in front of him, and now again he had been arrested once again, and he would have to go to the jail once more. So today, up to this, I feel understood. Next day, definitely we will try to complete this. Okay. Today, up to page number 87, we had completed. Only two more pages left. Next class, we will definitely complete it. Thank you for joining my class. Join you again in our next class. Thank you.